The next update for Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to be a very big deal for some of the most beautiful areas on the planet. What's more, it's only a few days away. World Update 16 is going to release on Tuesday, the 30th of January, and it features the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, depending on where you live and how you pronounce that. One of the biggest deals then is hopefully going to be a huge visual upgrade to many of the islands and the water effects. We're going to look at that in just a moment. Also in this video, we're going to look at the latest development updates for the future of the game. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably like flying over some of the most visually stunning areas in the game. And there's few that quite strike such a stunning balance, such a striking image as water areas. Now, the game's trailer many years ago sold the water areas very well, but when they released in-game, they were, well, a little bit short, shall we say. This is what they looked like in 2020 compared to the original trailer. Come 2021, they had been massively overhauled. What we can see here is a visual effect that Microsoft called watermasking, and yes, it makes these water areas look absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, there's only a select number of locations that look like this right now. Many, meanwhile, still look rather drab. They look quite uninspired, like this example right here. Now, the problem isn't that Microsoft lack the data for these areas. They do have that. We can see it right here. But you'll also notice that this image does have a few defects, a few problems. There's clouds on the left and a break in the image on the right. Essentially, it makes this type of data very difficult for Microsoft to use, and hence we have an island that looks like this instead. Fortunately, it seems that Microsoft have come up with the solution, and they're going to hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be implementing this into the new world update. And it means we should get a whole load more islands that actually look like this. A vast improvement in my opinion. So that seems to be the goal that Microsoft were hinting towards in their recent Q&A development livestream, but it seems as though we're going to have to wait for the full release to be absolutely sure exactly how they're going to implement this, and perhaps even if they're going to implement it and to what extent. So World Update 16 then is going to be the Caribbean. And as with all the world updates, this is a pretty big deal. It's going to come with new digital elevation maps, that's improved terrain. There's also going to be some new aerial imagery, and hopefully that would also include the water effects we just discussed. 104 points of interest, 7 bespoke airports, 3 landing challenges, 3 bush trips, and 3 discovery flights. Now, interestingly, there's no talk here of new photogrammetric cities, but I suspect the reason for that is because we're getting that new aerial imagery instead, and that is likely going to form a large part of all the work that's gone into this world update. On the screen, you can see a few screenshots of just a select number of these 104 different points of interest. Also, in just a moment, we'll have a look at some of the airports, and additionally, what I'm going to do a little bit in a moment is play some footage for some older videos I've had, which really do highlight some of the spectacular water scenery that is available in the sim, and hopefully we're going to be seeing much more of this in the upcoming update. So we're going to play that footage as I discuss the rest of the news from this week for the sim. Now, you may remember in the previous video we talked about the World Hub, which is now available in closed alpha. Microsoft have confirmed they've invited 150 community members into the closed alpha, which happened on the 18th of January. They said that over 700 people have signed up to participate in the alpha, and they're going to plan to add more participants every 1 to 2 weeks while they validate their process and start gathering feedback. Now, we don't know how long the World Hub is going to be in alpha, but hopefully not too long, although long enough hopefully as well to get everything ironed out with no problems. But in my opinion, the World Hub is going to be a very big deal for Flight Simulator, so very much looking forward to seeing this finally go live. Now, another point I wanted to talk about here was the Yeoman controller, which we saw mentioned on the wishlist in the previous video, and has got another mention here again, the same piece of information. The team has received the device and will make sure that it will be supported. The new news here, however, is that the Yeoman controller, which we discussed previously, you can see it on the screen right here, had a release price of around about $240, $250. A lot of people, including myself, felt that was very high. The manufacturers then have taken this feedback on board and have reduced the price right down. They've actually knocked $50 off the price, putting it down to $200 or thereabouts. Now, for the people who have already purchased the controller at the original price, they will be getting a refund, and the manufacturers will be sending that out to everyone that's already purchased it. Now, personally speaking, I do feel $200 is still a little bit too high. Although, let's be clear, that's my opinion without ever having hands-on experience with the controller. And I may feel completely different if I actually used it. Either way though, the good news here is that, well, the price has been significantly dropped. So there we have it, a fairly short video today on Microsoft Flight Simulator. That pretty much covers everything we know so far, but do keep an eye out for the rest of the news because next week we've got World Update 16 on the 30th of January, and the following day there's going to be a new Q&A live stream from the developers. So hopefully a load more information releasing alongside that. Meanwhile, why not check out the videos on the screen right here, and I'll catch you all next time.